Hello students, myself Prarthana JB, Assistant Professor, Department of ISC, SGBIT. In this particular video, we will be discussing on our organ, one more major organ, that is lungs. How your lung is acting as a purification system. You can see in the representation shown here on the screen that lung plays a major role in bringing in oxygen to the different vital functions of the body. So it has two parts, left side of the lung and the right side of the lung. The work is almost equal. So we basically have gases exchange at two levels. One is at the capillary level, where the oxygen from the cell is picked up by the blood cells, and also whatever the oxygen it was carrying earlier, it is basically delivered. So this is basically a gas exchange happening in capillary. The similar kind of an exchange of gases happens at the alveoli level also. In alveoli level, so we'll have a sac-like structure called as alveoles. These alveoles, will pick, now your blood, which is coming out from this particular process is having abundance of carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide is picked into alveoles, and the air what we basically inhale has abundance of oxygen. That oxygen is delivered to blood cells. So this is the major role of your lungs. So basically gas exchange happening at the alveoli level and also the capillary level. Seeing more detailed structure of lung, basically once we inhale the air, we basically call it as a windpipe. Technically we have a trachea. Trachea is a small tubular structure which basically carry the air that we basically inhale. Then this particular trachea is basically branching out into two branches. So those branches are called as bronchus. So each bronchus is going into left and right side of the lung. Then each bronchus is then breaking into bronchioles. So you can see a sub branches here. Each bronchiole at the end will have a grape-like or sac-like structure called as alveoles. The main reason of an alveoles is to provide a greater surface area to increase the amount of gases exchange possible. So in this particular diagram, the left side of the diagram shows a cross-sectional view of the lungs, wherein the right side shows the intact view of the lung. Now whenever the lung, we inhale the air, the lung basically expands, pushing down the diaphragm. When we need to exhale, we have to put pressure while exhaling, hereby contracting the diaphragm. That particular mechanism is also facilitated by a major one organ called as a diaphragm. So this is the basic knowledge about the lung. Now let us understand what do we mean by a gas exchange. We saw gas exchange is happening in two mechanisms. So what is that mechanism? First one, oxygen diffusion. Oxygen diffusion is nothing but the partial pressure of oxygen in air is higher. When I inhale, oxygen is at a greater quantity in the air. So this passes through trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, then reaches an alveoli. In the alveoli, depending on the surface area, there is an exchange of gases happening. The gradient of oxygen in air is greater than the gradient in the bloodstream. According to our basic knowledge on physics, it says the molecules flow from higher gradient area to lower gradient area. That means the oxygen diffuses from air to bloodstream. So this is called as oxygen diffusion. So I'll just summarize. Based on the gradient of oxygen content, air is having higher gradient, bloodstream is having a lower gradient. At alveoles, the molecules are exchanged from air to the bloodstream. So this is called as oxygen diffusion. Next, let's talk about carbon dioxide diffusion. In the inhaled air, we will have lesser carbon gradient, wherein in the bloodstream we will have more carbon gradient. So this is basically creating a difference in the gradient. Hence, carbon basically diffuses from bloodstream, higher gradient area, to inhaled gas, that is a lower gradient area. So these two together will basically summarize the entire process of gas exchange. How do we summarize it? Once I inhale the air, it reaches the alveoles. Our bloodstream lack oxygen, it has abundant carbon dioxide. The air which is there in the alveoles will have more oxygen and less carbon dioxide. So in both the cases there is a difference in gradient. So from higher gradient area to lower gradient area, the gaseous molecules will exchange. Oxygen from gas, air to bloodstream, carbon dioxide from bloodstream to our alveoles, and it is basically exhaled from the body. That's why we basically throw out carbon dioxide. Next, let us understand, once understanding what is the actual working of the lung is, let us understand one basic concept or mechanism used to test the lung functioning. So that particular test is spirometry. Spirometry is the procedure or a test conducted to diagnose the functioning level of the lung. Okay, basically these are done for the people who are suffering from chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. What is it? So person is asked to inhale. A mouthpiece is kept in his mouth here, okay, and then is asked to exhale. So this measures the amount of air that is being obtained or caught on this particular mouthpiece. So this volume is measured and it is given as a reading. Later the physicians will basically do the diagnosis on this particular content. So this is about spirometry. Hope this concept of lung as a filter everybody have understood. So we understood how do you lung basically help in purification of air, oxygenating your blood, and what are the mechanisms involved in it, and what is the test that is basically done on the lung functioning. Thank you.